So far has he put our transgressions from us. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear thee. The Lord is kind and
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being, but the last Adam, a life-giving spirit. But the spiritual was not first, rather the natural, and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, earthly. The second man from heaven. As was the earthly one, so also are the earthly. And as is the heavenly one, so also are the heavenly. Just as we have borne the image of the earthly one, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly one. The word of the Lord.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and the gifts will be given to you, a good measure, packed over, shaken down, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in turn be measured out to you. The Gospel of the Lord.
My friends, may the good Lord give all of you peace. I'm assuming that many of you, maybe most of you, have heard of the British writer G.K. Chesterton. He was a convert to Catholicism in the early 20th century, became a devout Catholic. I understand his cause for canonization is being promoted. Don't know just where that will go, but that tells you the kind of man he was. But he once made the statement that Christianity has not been tried and found wanting. Rather, he said, Christianity has not really been tried on a wide scale. Very interesting. Have you tried living Christianity? I'll leave that question hanging in midair. Say a little bit about this strange bird in the brown robe who's here before you today. My name is Father John Anglin, as your Father John pointed out. I'm a Franciscan friar. I live over in St. Petersburg, but I come originally from Boston. Now, knowing that I come from Boston, there's a couple of things you need to know about me. Although I've worked on my accent, I tend to talk a little bit funny sometimes. And I'm an avid follower of all those sports teams from that part of the world. I was ordained to the priesthood in 1971, almost 48 years ago now. I've been a high school teacher of religion and history at a Catholic high school in Boston. My superiors then sent me to different inner city churches where I ministered. I was also involved in the Marriage Encounter program. I was a missionary in Bolivia for 3 years, and for a little more than 31 years now, based in different places, but presently in St. Petersburg, I've been a traveling preacher preaching these parish missions. I've done about more than 500 of them at this point. And I want to make a guarantee and a promise to you, and it's this, that come Wednesday night, when this mission here at Holy Family has come to an end, I guarantee and promise you that your life and the life of this parish will not be the same again. Now, don't get me wrong. I have absolutely no power to change you, to change anyone, or to change this parish. But I make that promise because I know that the good Lord dwells here. I know that the Holy Spirit moves among us. And because I know that great and wonderful things are going to be happening here this week, and that it will be worth whatever effort, whatever sacrifice, whatever adjustment of busy calendars and schedules it takes on your part in order for you to be here and to fill this church to overflowing in the days ahead. Now back to that question. Have you tried, have you practiced really being Christian? Any priest will tell you that there's people who come up to us and say, Father, I'm not perfect, but I think I'm a good person. I keep the 10 Commandments for the most part. If I fail, I go to confession and I receive absolution, and I believe what the church teaches. Well, people that tell us that have done 2 of the 3 things that are entailed in being a good Christian: believing the right doctrines and not doing the things we're not supposed to do. The 10 Commandments, with the exception of honor your father and mother and keep the Sabbath holy, are mostly things we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to lie, cheat, steal, kill, and all those things. Obviously, we're not. But for Jesus, that's not enough. In John's Gospel, he tells us, if you love me, keep my commandments. And what are his commandments? Not just the 10, of course we're supposed to keep those, but his commandments are love one another as I have loved you. Reach out to the poor, visit the sick, visit the imprisoned, and all the things we hear from Luke in today's gospel. Love your enemies, pray for your persecutors, be merciful, be forgiving, turn the other cheek. Wait a minute, Father, turn the other cheek. That's a little bit too much. I'm not ready for turn the other cheek. But Jesus isn't telling us to just let people stomp on us. What he's saying is, have the courage to be the last one to participate in the downward spiral of violence. I was walking in New York City a number of years ago when I was stationed there with a good Catholic layman who was my friend. And a fellow came up to us. I was wearing my Roman collar, and a fellow came up to us and made a disparaging remark about me as a priest. I was a complete stranger to him, so he had some bug in his bonnet about the church. And this friend of mine came to my defense verbally, and then this fellow pushed him to the ground. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen now? Well, my friend got up, dusted himself off, looked at the man, and went like this. The guy was bewildered and walked away. That's the kind of thing Jesus is talking about. But it's a challenge to do those things, to really do the things that Jesus wants us to do that make us Christians. So we have activities like a parish mission. We're going to come together over the next few days and talk about God's love, God's mercy, God's healing presence, and how he calls us to be lovers, forgivers, and healers. That's a little roadmap about what lies ahead. Now, what time will this take place? Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, there are 2 times. I will celebrate the 8:30 Mass in the morning here in church on Monday and Wednesday with a mission homily during the Mass. On Tuesday, the daily Mass is a funeral. I'm not going to preach the mission talk during the funeral, so after the funeral Mass, I will give the mission talk on Tuesday. But those 3 days in the morning at 8:30, and then in the evening at 7 o'clock, there'll be a 1-hour service of prayer and preaching. I don't repeat at night what I say in the morning, so if you can come at both times, it won't be repetitious for you. Who is invited? Everyone. The young, the old, the in-between, the liberals, the conservatives, those who don't know what they are. Everyone's invited. And also I urge you to invite your friends who no longer actively practice their Catholic faith. The last thing that I would mention is that I have written 2 books, and they are here for sale after Mass and throughout the mission. A confrere of mine who recently passed away has written 2 other books that I brought with me. Those are for sale in the narthex, in the gathering space, after the Masses today and throughout the mission. I do hope you have a look at that material, but I'm not here primarily to sell books. I'm here primarily to preach this mission, to invite everyone to hear Jesus' call to be people who love and serve and help others. Look forward to seeing each and every one of you. Thank you very much, and may the good Lord give all of you peace.
Thank you, Father Anglin. I had Father Anglin at my former parish about 4 or 5 years ago, and he did a wonderful job. So I encourage you all, anybody, even those listening on watching on television, to come and join us for this mission. Now, most times we have missions, they're usually during Lent, but I could only get Father Anglin here this week, and it's, well, you're a week away from Lent, but